7:43, welcome back. It's the latest installment of the Trump versus Harvard University funding fight. A federal judge in Boston Wednesday ordered the Trump administration to now reverse its cuts of more than $2.6 billion in research funding for the school.
The judge ruled that the cuts amounted to illegal retaliation for Harvard's rejection of the Trump administration's demands to change their governance and policies.
Yeah, the government had tied the funding freezes to Harvard's delays in dealing with anti-Semitism, but the judge said the university's federally backed research had little connection to discrimination against Jewish people.
Joining us this morning to talk about the ruling, what it could mean for similar cases out there, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. All right, Khalif, welcome back.
Morning.
Let's rewind the timeline. Almost 5 months. April 11th was the first time Trump started to threaten Harvard with, pulling some funding. Does this turn the spigot back on, or does it freeze it? What is going to happen with that $2.6 million?
It freezes the freezing.
Right.
So I guess you can't refreeze food. But yeah, seriously, the Trump administration froze the funding. Harvard files complaint asking that it be unfrozen, or at least them to stop doing this. But at the conclusion of the hearing, Trump administration immediately said, we will instantly appeal. So typically what happens is the judge puts this injunction in place. We've talked about injunctions a number of times: likelihood of success in the marriage, irreparable harm, balance of equities, public policy. The judge went through a lengthy analysis on how, on all of those factors, the Trump administration has clearly violated First Amendment, Sixth Amendment, and a number of other rules that you should not do in terms of funding. So what will happen is, all right, Harvard gets a win. But if you read what the president said, President Garber of Harvard, he says, okay, great, we appreciate the court following the rule of law, but it wasn't really celebratory. Why? Because he knows there's a pill coming down the road. This is the normal foray that we've had so far. File a complaint, wait for an appeal, see what happens. I don't think any dollars will be changing hands anytime soon, because on the back side of this, President Trump and Harvard have been having negotiations on some type of settlement similar to like you've seen at Columbia. So I think funding will start at some point, but was this legal? Was this something that he was lawfully able to do? Not at all.
All right, you mentioned Columbia. 3 other Ivy League schools settled similar lawsuits. So as a lawyer, you had mentioned before, since we have talked about this, that they just didn't have the money to really fight this in court. Are you looking back at that saying, hey, maybe we should have really fought for this harder, or does this impact any of their cases?
If you're Columbia, you're probably saying that we probably could have went and fought this a little bit further like Harvard did. But you got to pick your hill to stand on and fight for. I mean, a lot of the things that the Trump administration was doing was specifically targeting these Ivy League institutions, and Harvard being the biggest of them all. And so they're like, if we can take down Goliath, then everyone else will fall. I think that was the misstep of the Trump administration. So then you go after Columbia. They were asking for different things from both institutions. At Harvard, they wanted protesters' names and information for students that were participating in protests, and it was no causal connection to DEI or any of the other things. And so that kind of kickstarted it. Then they end up freezing the funding because they didn't give them the list. And the judge says, well, okay, now this is retaliatory. I mean, in her opinion, there was some clear language, like looking at the evidence, there's no other way you can view this, but this was retaliatory. When a judge says that, that's problematic for sure.
Khalif, when we look at this, what does this do to protect First Amendment rights for students at universities? Because that's what that ruling came out on.
Yeah, I mean, not just students, but the institution. Harvard itself has a right to be able to say and do things. And it says that the First Amendment still has protections, at least for today. I mean, again, you have to sit on your hands and wait until an appeal is final all the way up to the Supreme Court nowadays, because they move so fast. Years ago, if something like this happened, this would have been the ruling of the day. An appeal would have waited, but it still would have continued for years. Then it may have made its way up to the Supreme Court. Now things are happening in record clips. So now they'll appeal this. It may get in front of the Supreme Court in the next month or two. That's something that has not occurred. Yeah, there may be an emergency basis just to remove some type of injunction that she issued yesterday. But you didn't see that happening before. I mean, but looking at the causal connection between the cut, that's the biggest thing also that I pulled away from this that the judge said. She said, look, you're talking about Alzheimer's, dementia research, you're talking about Lou Gehrig's disease, you're talking about cancer research. None of this has anything to do with anti-Semitic comments, and you cannot make the connection, and the government was dumbfounded. Now, she did take Harvard to task for one thing. She said that anti-Semitic things were happening on campus, and you weren't doing enough, and now try to find ways to do more. But the connection between the dollars and you doing anything more is something that the Trump administration didn't have within their wheelhouse to enforce colleges to do. So we'll see. I mean, I'll continue to follow this one, obviously.
Well, is there not a different pocket of money that could be used as a consequence, maybe instead of touching research, if that has nothing to do with it? Can you not pull it from scholarships or enrollment funds or those type of endowments if you're going to be penalizing them and not touch research?
I mean, you would typically think that there would be something other than research, but even in those scenarios, I mean, the best example I could look at is during the 60s and the late 50s when we were doing civil rights approach, and you had states that were not wanting to do what the federal government said. So use the Commerce Clause to say, okay, you don't want to do what we're saying, we'll take your money. Anything that changes states, it goes in between the one state to the other, federal government takes a hold, and now those dollars you're receiving to these institutions, to these colleges and schools, we'll just take it. And so now we'll force your hand to do that. The federal government could have attempted to do that with Harvard, but as I mentioned, what Andy reminded me of, Harvard has money where you could take their dollars and they could still operate. It wouldn't be efficient. They can't come up with $2 billion overnight, but they'd still be able to operate, and they wouldn't miss a beat. The research portion, which we depend on, would be missing.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.